All right. We're now resuming what we began for the last 3 days, the speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave in 1991. 1991, what is it, 33 years ago. And it's relevant to this week's Torah portion, which is talking about the spies that Moses sent and the spies that Joshua sent 40 years later. And the spies that Moses sent, says the Rebbe, on the face of things was a tremendous failure. But if you look at it a little bit deeply, you'll see that it wasn't such a tremendous failure, that it accomplished two outstanding things. Number one, these spies that Moses sent, they were the first Jews as part of the Jewish nation to go into the land of Israel. Right before that, we talked about this before. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they lived in the land of Israel, but they were as individuals. And all the Jewish people living in the land of Israel, all of them together living in the land of Israel. I mean, briefly, Jacob lived in Israel with his sons, but the Jewish people, as a Jewish people, were born only when they left Egypt. That's when the Jewish people were really born. They left Egypt, they received the Torah. And after that, the first Jews to actually go in the land of Israel and be there for an extended amount of time, they were also there for an extended amount of time, were these spies. They were there for 40 days. Not only that, they came back with a good report. Everybody knew from then on that the land of Israel was a very fertile and positive place, just that there are terrible enemies there, but that the land of Israel is a blessed place. Everyone, okay. It says the Rebbe even more, that the spies that went in, when Moses sent the spies in, it says that they were kosher. Kosher, that's what Rashi says. The 12 spies that Moses sent in, even though 10 of them went sour, and they said, we can't, but when they went in, they were kosher. Says the Rebbe, the letters kosher is kamotze shalal rav, like one who finds great spoils of war. Spoils. You attack the enemy attacks you, and you attack the enemy, and you defeat them, and you discover that they have these huge treasure houses packed with diamonds and rubies and all sorts of secret information and money and gold and silver, things you never would have believed. But you never would have believed. And so that's what it means, the fact that they went into the land of Israel is this. The fact that they went into the land of Israel, this began the refining of the world. This began refining, and that's the whole purpose of the Jewish people. That's why God created man, was to make the world. When God put Adam in the world was already refined, but there was a lot of work to do. It could have been much higher. That's what Adam was supposed to do. And that's what we're continuing. That's what Abraham started, and that's what we're continuing now. But it was only really consummated when the Jews went into the land of Israel. Because the land of Israel is a land. It's a place like everybody else, like every other place in the world. It's on the map, on the globe. But the job of the Jews is supposed to be to tell the world that the globe is an amazing creation of God, and it's being created all the time, right? So if you go into like in a public school or something, and you see there's a big globe, on the teacher's desk, you should say, wow, what a miracle God created. Look at that miracle. This is just amazing. And the teacher will say, yes, you're right. I get used to it. The teacher won't say, what type of a miracle are you talking about? I bought this globe, and then the store for $250 was on the sale, right? I said, no, the teacher said, yes, you're right. The world is an amazing miracle. Isn't it amazing? So that's what it's supposed to be. But the Jewish people, they're supposed to be the ones that show this. And when did they begin? When they went into the land of Israel. And that's what's called kamotze shalal rav. They found great spoils. What does it mean, great spoils? That the world now is under the control of nature, and it doesn't seem that there's any God whatsoever. And the purpose of the Jews is to show that nature itself is under God. Nature itself is a creation. It's amazing miracle creation. Okay, so that's what it is. The explanation is like this. There's two types of the Torah. Oh, here we go. I think let's do this. Okay. Oh, here we go. You do it is known. Shebabir Olam, that refining the world is made actually, potentially, and actually by means of the Jewish people learning the Torah. The Torah is the only way to do it, right? Other people have tried all sorts of different, ways to figure out what the world is about, and left the world just as confused and how do you say, frustrating as it was before. But communism is the answer, and psychiatry is the answer, and religion is the answer, and get out of the world is the answer. Let's go to heaven is the answer. You can't fix the world up, can't fix it up, but you can get out of it, right? Comes along Judaism, says no, God is creating the world. The world is good, very good. It says in the Torah, 6th day of creation. God saw what He made, and it's very good. And we're going to show you how to fix up the world. Not is it possible, but it's actual. So it says the Jews do this by means of the Torah. Ubelashon Kabbalah, in the language of Kabbalah and Chassidut, it says b'chachma es briro. In chachma, everything is refined. I think we got up to here actually. Okay, the chachma, the wisdom of the Torah, everything can be put in its proper place. The Yeshlom, we can say shemitam zeh, for this reason, hayashiluach hamaraglim. That's why Moses sent the spies Hatchalat V'tichat Birur Olam in the end of the month of Sivan. Oh, you know what? Here, that's what we should have started here. Okay, no big deal. Here he says the spies were sent on the last day of Sivan. Sivan. How do we figure this out? The spies were in the land of Israel for 40 days. Canaan. They were there for 40 days, and they came back on Tisha B'av, the 9th day of Av. Right, the 9th day of Av. And the month of Av is 2 months after Sivan. Now we're in Sivan. Next month is Tammuz. So we have Tammuz is, let's say, 30 days. And Av, they came back on the 9th day of Av. So that's 39. So where do you get 40 days? So it must be that they sent right before, one day before Tammuz started. So the 29th day of Sivan, they sent them out. That's one day. And then the 30 days of Tammuz, that's the next month. That makes 31. And then they came back on the 9th day of Av, that's 40. So they sent out, the last day of Sivan was when they sent out the spies. Oh, it's known that the whole world was made because of the Jewish people and to work in the Torah. The language of the Kabbalah and Chassidut, that in Chachma, the world is refined. What do you mean the world is refined? That Chachma, the wisdom of the Torah. The wisdom of the Torah makes the world healthy. B'Yeshlom, we can say, she mitam zeh, for this reason, that Moses sent out the spies, the beginning of refining the world, right? Sending the spies. Jews went into the land of Israel, and the end of the month of Sivan. What's so special about the month of Sivan? The month of Sivan was the 3rd month after the Jews got out of Egypt. That was the month that God gave them the Torah. And they went from the time of the giving of the Torah to refining the world. From potential and by means of the Torah, the koach, and the power of, and by means of the Torah. Now, again, a person can say, oh, come on, really? I mean, the Torah is really going to fix up the world. The Torah is just a book, and it's a book owned by the Jews. Not that many of the Jews even know what the Torah is, or they learn it. They're not religious. And so the Jews are like, 0.2 something percent of the world. Is 1 out of every 500 people in the world is a Jew. And how many of the Jews are religious? And even those religious people, how many of them learn the Torah? And you're going to tell me the Torah is going to fix up the whole entire world? How can this possibly be? So I think the answer to this, I was thinking about this a lot. The answer, and it doesn't seem logical. It doesn't seem logical. You learn the Torah. What are you doing? You're not creating anything, or finding any, digging holes and discovering water or something. Doing something. What are you doing? So I was thinking maybe the answer is like this: if you take a person that he's sick, and nobody knows what to do with the person, and someone says you should go to a doctor. A doctor, what's this? What was this? What's a doctor? Says there's doctors. I don't know what's a doctor. What's a doctor? A person gets sick. He either gets better or he doesn't get better. We pray and we hope that there's doctors. You go to a doctor. So they go to a doctor, and the doctor looks at the person and says, well, what he needs is a shot of, something, penicillin. I don't know if they even use it anymore, but so everybody says, well, why'd you send us to this maniac? I mean, he's got, Uncle Joe has enough troubles as it only wants to stick a needle inside of him and then make him more pain. And not only that, how is it possibly going to heal him? He has a pain in his head. He's all weak. You're going to stick a thing in his arm. That's going to heal him. That doesn't make any sense, right? Doesn't make sense. And who is this guy to know? So the answer is that if he's a doctor, so he knows what health is. He's seen health before. He knows what a healthy person is, and he knows what health is supposed to be. And he learned that if a person has this, then he's away from health, and that therefore he should heal the world. He can make a person healthy again by doing this thing or that thing, right? There's germs inside, whatever, it makes the person healthy. Get rid of those germs. It's the same thing with the world. The world originally was healthy. When God gave the Torah, and before that, when God created man, the world was healthy. So the way the world is now, it's sick. And it could be that everybody is sick. When everybody is sick, you think it's normal, right? You think it's a normal situation. But the fact of the matter, it's not. And you have to have one person at least in the generation that's a doctor. And he knows that the cure to the world is you have to inject Torah. And you're only injecting it to one little place, right? And sometimes it can be very not comfortable and doesn't seem to have any connection to what the disease is. And who knows, the example I gave, maybe it's not such a good example. Let's say a person, he doesn't even know that he's sick. He doesn't even know that he's sick, right? He just finds that it's hard for him to walk and he's dragging his legs, but everybody's hard for them to walk. They're all dragging their legs. That's the way life is. Right? There's one person that says, hey, that's not the way you're supposed to be. Man is not created to drag his legs and that you can't do anything. Watch, I'll show you, right? And that the Torah. Okay, so you're right. I mean, you can say, yes, listen, we've been learning the Torah for a long time. We see the world just gets worse. It has to have faith. You have to have faith for the doctor. Torah requires faith. Not only that, since we've tried everything else and it doesn't work, and the Jews keep insisting that this is going to work, right? And for some crazy reason, everybody hates the Jews for no logical reason. So maybe that's why, because the world got used to being sick and they don't want the injection. They don't want good. They just want to be sick. I don't know why the world hates Jews and why they reject the Torah and why the same thing with me. It's hard to learn the Torah. You don't get pleasure out of it. When you start to learn, it's very pleasurable, right? But the whole idea that the whole world is going to be fixed up with Jews doing Torah, if we have to have faith in the Rebbe, he's the doctor. He knows what's the truth. So therefore, it says, but even since the Jewish people in the Torah, there's two levels. There's the level of the oneness of the Torah and the level of the division of the Torah. Like it's known that the Jewish people, that Yisrael is the first letters, Yesh, Shishim, Riboy, Otiot LaTorah. There are 10,000, no, 600,000 letters to the Torah. There are Shishim Riboy Osus the Torah. There are 600,000 letters in the Torah, that every single Jew has a letter in the Torah that from it is come his life. Sha'alpidin, this is the root souls and everything. That's how the souls are divided, because of course there's many more Jews than 600,000. And not only that, there's in the Torah, there's a lot less letters than 600,000, but there's a way of figuring it out with the vowels and the things, how it is. There's books that explain what it is. But nevertheless, every Jew has in his root of his soul as a source in the letter of the Torah. And according to this law, there has to be every letter, when you write a Sefer Torah, letters cannot be sticking one to the other. If two letters touch, then that disqualifies the Torah. You have to fix it up. Really, the whole entire Torah, the thing costs $30,000 to write a Torah, maybe $50,000. How much it costs nowadays, I don't know. And you have two letters that happen to be touching one the other, the whole Torah is disqualified. Some people say only that book is disqualified. Anyway, disqualifies. Let's, for our purposes, disqualifies the whole thing. Every letter has to be mukavas gavil, has to be surrounded by white, by white parchment. Every letter has to be separate. Even though every letter is separate, all of the 600,000 letters of the 600,000 Jewish people, they're one unit. It's one Torah. A Sefer Torah, like a Sefer Torah, that it's kashrus, that it's being, how do you say, fit to read, depends on all of the letters that are in it. There's no missing letter. There's no extra letter. Like I said before, every letter is separate. And if there's one letter that touches another one, then the whole entire Sefer Torah can't be read from until you fix that up. So we can say that there is two ways of fixing up the world. One way of fixing up the world is for the sake of the world which was created for the sake of the Jews and for the sake of the Torah. First of all, you can fix up the world individually of the Torah and the Jews, that every Jew is separate and every letter is separate. And then there's fixing up the world in a general way of the Torah and the Jewish people. How is this done? We'll explain it in 1 second. One minute. I just want to, 1 minute. I'm pausing the recording. Did it pause? I don't know if it paused. 1 second there, 1 second. I don't know if it paused. 1 minute. Okay, so there's two aspects of the Torah and the Jewish people. How the Torah and the Jewish people are separate. Each letter is separate. Each letter is unique. Each Jew is separate. Each Jew is unique. And there's also the unity of the Jewish people, that every Jew is holy. Oh, there we go. Every Jew is part of the Jewish people. They're one. And the same thing, the Torah is one. Okay. So these are two ways of refining the world, of healing the world. And that's where the Jewish people are. Ubirayan, that there's two levels of the Torah. One is unity, and one is division. And generally, we can say that's the Torah and the commandments. The Torah is one. Why? Because the Torah is the wisdom of God. And since that God is one, and God and his wisdom are one, therefore also the Torah is one. The commandments, though, they're divided. They're separated. 613 commandments. 248 positive commandments, 365 prohibitions. Because the commandments, they are orders to people how to conduct themselves in the world, how to use the world. What do you do with your arms? What do you do with your... Oh, there it is. Good. What to do with the world? Yeah. Yeah. Cave, and since that the mitzvahs and the commandments, right? How to do what? Since the existence, Metzius Adam, since the existence of humanity and of the world is in a way that it's divided into 613. God created the world. Let's take the Jewish people and the world. He created the world from the Torah, and the Torah can be divided into 613 commandments, 248 positive commandments, and 365 what's called negative commandments. That corresponds to the blood vessels. So, and man is called a small world. That everything that God makes in the world, he creates in man. Therefore, also the commandments are divided into 613. What's the point? What's he doing? The world was created for the Jews to refine it. The world was created for the Jews to reveal what a treasure and a miracle the world is. And that's done by means of the Torah and the commandments. The world was created through the commandments. So therefore, the Torah, which is one, but a Torah can also be divided into 613 commandments. Same also, man can be, each commandment corresponds to another limb or another blood vessel. And also the same thing, the world, which was created, which was created from the Torah and the Jewish people. That's what it says, Beit Reshis, Bereshit. In more detail, the Torah itself and the difference between the revealed Torah and the secrets of the Torah, the inner, the soul of the Torah. The revealed Torah, there are what's called 60 tractates. And each one of these tractates, nowadays we have 6, but they contain laws, individual laws of what's forbidden, what's permissible, what's impure, what's pure, what's kosher, what's how do you say, kosher, what's puzzle, what's disqualified, what's qualified. That by means of this, we can refine the world. So this is in a way of hischalkus, division. That's the external Torah. It's all details. If you want to call it, that's the religious part of the Torah. The inside of the Torah, and this explains godliness. Like it says, know the God of your fathers. This is in a way of unity. There is no division whatsoever. Like it says in the Kabbalah, there are no arguments. If the people are genuine Kabbalists, we're not talking about just somebody who just says I'm a Kabbalist and makes up ideas. People who are genuine Kabbalists, like the Moshe Cordovero and the Arizal and the Sefer Bahir, all these people, it says all of their opinions, you can explain it's just different levels, different ways of looking at things, which is not the case in the Torah. In the Torah, only one opinion can be accepted. Only one opinion can be accepted. The law is like Beit Hillel. The law is like, Rabbi Yochanan. The law is like Rabbi Shimon. So that's the way the law is. So it says in the Gemara, it's filled with arguments. Kabbalah is not filled with arguments at all. There's no arguments whatsoever. There can be sometimes things can be made clear. Maybe sometimes they ask a question, someone will give an answer. So that's the idea of Kabbalah, especially of Chassidut, is unity. It's talking about godliness. And God is one. But the outside of the Torah, the laws of the Torah, that's how to deal with each and every different situation in detail of the physical world. So it's divided. But similarly with the Jewish people. The idea of unity of the Jewish people, this comes from the soul. As far as the soul goes, we're all exact twins. We're exactly the same. And we have one Father. We're all Jews. From the source of their soul in the one God. This is in the 32nd chapter of the Tanya. And that the Jews are different one from the other, that's only from their bodies. Their bodies are separate. And that's there in order to refine the world. In more detail, Ba'avodas HaNeshama, the soul itself, the whole idea of division in the soul is because of different individual powers of the soul. Intellect, emotions, some people are more intellectual, some people are less, some people have a higher IQ, some people lower, some people's minds work better in one aspect of the Torah and others in another aspect of the Torah. Some people have better memory, some people have better power of how do you say, deepen and get deep into ideas. Some people can take ideas, it says, and grind them one against the other. The inyan actus, but the unity comes from the essence of the soul, which that's above everything. And that that's by means of bittul and the lack of existence. And you can see this also in humanity. You can see it also in humanity. Let's say there's two teams, soccer teams or two boxers or whatever, and they're fighting each other. But after the game is finished, so they say, listen, as far as the game is concerned, we're arch enemies, but we're human beings. And the humanity that unites us. Let's forget about the argument, the antagonism was only in one detail, but our essence that we're human beings, that we should love each other. How much more so by the Jewish people? Every Jew is different. Every Jew is markedly different, But in the inside, in essence, we're all Jews. So we can have different opinions, and it's a good thing we have different opinions. The whole Talmud is filled with different opinions. But it says, that in the end, there's unity. The whole novelty is that because the main thing of serving God and refining the world is because of the division of the Torah and the Jewish people, because we have to deal with each and every detail. The Ilu Dargas, but the level of the unity of the Torah, this is above the world. But nevertheless, we have to do both of them simultaneously. Our service in the world also has to be because of the unity of the Torah and the Jewish people. That by means of this, the world becomes refined ultimately. And it's drawn down into the world godliness, which is above the world. So there's a big difference when the two soccer teams are playing or the two boxers are boxing. When they're doing that, they have to forget that they're one and that they're friends and they're all human beings. They have to think about one thing: winning. There's rules of the game. You have to have gamesmanship and all these things, yes. But the main thing is just to win. And when you finish, then the main thing is not to win. Then the main thing is even to surrender to the other person. You're a nice guy, and I really like you, and I really appreciate you. Right? That's what it used. That's what it used to be. It used to be. My father was a big boxing fan, and it used to be when my father was alive. Boxers then they used to honor one another. Right? The champions would only say good things about each other. He's a good boxer. I think I'm better. Right? Oh, he's powerful. He's fast. He's really something else. I'm going to really have to work hard in order to beat him, right? That's what it used to be, right? Nowadays, everybody curses everybody else. He's an idiot. He's a fool. He's a cheater. He's a liar. Which it could be true. Maybe the fact of the matter is that they are. Not so if you want to fix up the world. If you want to fix up the world, it can't be this separately and this. When you're fixing up the world, it's just the laws of the Torah and you forget about God. You just have to be exact in laws. And afterwards, when you pray, you can think about God. No, it can't be that way. It has to be that when you're learning the Torah and when you're dealing with the world, in all these little details, you have to be thinking also about the unity of the whole business at the same time. And maybe we can even say, okay. We can even say that these two ways of refining the world, namely because everything is separate and because everything is one, this is hinted at the two ways of the sending of the spies of Moses and Joshua. When Moses sent out his spies, there were 11 people, each one according to his individual tribe, that they went to spy out, to survey the land of Israel, all the 12 portions of the land of Israel. That the land of Israel was going to be divided into 12 tribes. So this it stresses how can we find the world by means of division, details. That was made by means of dividing. And how did they do this? By the aspect of the Jewish people and of the Torah that deals with details. Like God said to Moses, send on your own. Deus. He said to Moses, you want to send the spies. It has to be you make the decision. You're not dealing with the oneness of God now. Moses, you decide according to the situation, according to your feelings. That's already details. The Khalil that includes also Chachma and Bina, the wisdom of the Torah, the understanding of the Torah, all the emotions, all the inner powers, how it's all divided. L'datcha, data Adam, how a person, a separate individual, uses his individuality to try to make the right choices. That shows on the details. This hints at the descending of how the Torah comes down into the world, into human beings, and to each human being differently. That's the sending of the spies of Moses, was in a way of division, separate details. And that used the details of the Torah and the details of the commandments and the details of the Jewish people. Not so Joshua. Joshua, when he sent out his scouts, his spies, he sent out only 2, not 12. And they didn't go to see the whole land of Israel. They didn't go to all the different 12 tribes and all the details. All they did was they went to Jericho. Jericho was like the key part of Israel, the key city of Israel. shekolelis kol oretz kolol, that it includes the whole entire place. Jericho was like a microcosm of all the land of Israel. This is stressed how to refine Israel and the world in a way which is above any divisions, above any divisions. And this was made by means of the unity of the Jewish people in the Torah, not according to the opinion or the decision of Moses, but the decision of God. God commanded Joshua, and not because of what Joshua felt or what he understood. The opinion of a person, which is according to his separate individuality. But this came from the commandment of God in a way of Kabbalat all. You just do what God says, you accept the yoke, how the soul is above any division. That's how all the Jews are equal. And maybe we can also say this is also hinted at that why Moses said two people in quiet, in secret, and two, not 12, because the service of serving God unquestioningly, Kabbalat all, this means total surrender, which is not relevant to any details whatsoever of your personality, but just two things, yes or no, do or don't do. That shows general, right? I'll do what God says and I'll refrain from what he wants. I'm not asking any questions on these divisions. Yes or no? That's the two spies that Joshua sent. And he said that he sent in just people, not special people, not the heads of the tribes. And he just, because serving God from a way of just accepting the yoke unquestioningly, this is found in every Jew equally. And also he sent the spies in secret. Joshua sent that the service which comes from serving God unquestioningly in total surrender to God, this is not done through advertisement. This is just between you and God personally. Chashai, quietly. Hatznan lechatim Hashem. You have to go with God and how do you say, a secret, intimate connection to God. That's serving God in a general way. That fixes up the world in a general way, unlike what Moses tried to do and fix it up in a detailed way. Okay, how does this reflect to us? We're going to see, God willing, tomorrow. What's going on over here? Oh, here it is. Here it is.